There seems to be a common theme here about personalization, pulling your data together, understanding your products like the genomes. I think what people are having trouble with is how do they just get started? Because you can't take something too big to your management and say, I want to do this, you're going to get this. So most of the time it's just a quick start. Can you guys each give a quick response to that?
Yeah. I think, Steve, I think I will use the analogy like, when you are flying at 10,000 feet altitude, and let's say you want to go up, the choices are, you cannot come down because it's going to burn more fuel. So you have to find a way to sustain where you are and then see what course correction you have to do, right? So we won't be able to completely rip and replace the existing systems. It's a step-by-step process. It takes time, right? We have to identify what are the low-hanging fruits and then identify how we can tackle on them. For every client, the benefits are going to be different for different use cases, so they need to be able to prioritize which use case has more benefit, and then understand what data sources are needed for those use cases, and then start tackling that. Nobody would be able to go and rip and replace and build a new customer 360.
Okay, so start small in a parallel approach and build it up.
Okay.
Kumit?
I'll just use the example of the Sentient Ascent product. Okay, you do not have to get paralyzed on how do we do automatic segmentation and so on. How do you get to that? Okay. The important part is you start optimizing the experience for static segments. At least don't do it across the board for all mobile users, people on the East Coast, multiple generation. You can have optimization for preset static segmentations. Later on, when I talked about Nirvana, that's when you get into the automatic segmentation and so on. Hey, start with static. You can actually start with this today, as I said, without having an army of people, leveraging products in the market. One example I gave you from my company, there's others too.
Okay. Let me play the role of Sean for a second, if he was here and asked that question. I think he gave us the answer already. I think they started out by understanding it's a different relationship with the customer. It's not what you want to tell them, it's what the customer wants from you. And then breaking down the silos across the company and creating a plan and going forward one step at a time. I think too many of us look at this and get overwhelmed by the size of it. A little analogy, I remember when revenue management was first coming out, same thing. I visited the heads, C-levels of major travel companies, never. Too complex, we're not doing it. We can't get into that, we can't change the culture, they're all doing it now. So for those of you that are thinking of this, start somewhere. Yep. Start bringing up the conversation. You're going to do this in the future. It's just a matter of whether you're leading or you're behind. And I'm not trying to be too harsh, hopefully, with that statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.